Hi everyone, it's Carolyn, here to provide another channeled message from the Light Keepers, a group of angelic beings I channel for your awakening and ascension journey support. So today I do have a channel from the Light Keepers, and then what I'll do is I will give you my takeaways on it, as I always do in some of my experiences, so you can relate to the channel a bit more. So thank you for everybody who always joins me, and welcome to those of you who are new. I'm Carolyn, I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor, and I offer these channels for you so that you can get additional support on your awakening journey. Now, you can also get more support by clicking the link below on 6 tips on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness. It's a video that I've put together from my distance energy healing work, where I offer you opportunity to assist your body forward in this awakening journey. And it also leads you to a lot more free content through my email list. So I appreciate you joining me today, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on reading the channel. It's interesting, they use the metaphor of a runaway train, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my experiences and hopefully help you be able to consciously wrap your mind around how to deal with the really difficult times that come our way in the awakening. Now, it's not all difficult, but as we know, the awakening has its ups and downs. And so this channel is really about consciously wrapping your mind around knowing when these things are happening and then finding another way. So I'm going to try the best I can to give you some of my experiences and examples, and kind of a little bit of a way that you can actually manage these tough times along your awakening journey. Okay, here's the channel. Stay in strength of the times when you wonder what moving train has hit you this time. Feeling run over in mind and body, the soul will come to you if you find the gentle voice calling you from inside. Just breathe a sigh of relief, and then you will close your eyes and grit your teeth and get through this time so deep of emotion and trials too, brought to you often out of the blue. Another hill upon the way, sometimes a mountain it is instead, you say, and yet just lean into, jump on board as fast as you can too. Take this wild ride you see, not left in the dust, but instead hang on for dear life to be. Soon brought out in the clear air you'll find the greater of, oh sunshine. The beauty of this life comes this day, another stop along the way of taking this ride of what often feels like a runaway train. But soon you know better still that this is the journey of all time. Never has it been before in humankind. The great ascension, your own awakening, you will find. So that's the channel. And using the metaphor of kind of a runaway train, because oftentimes during this journey, we don't know what one day from the next will bring. And that is not an exaggeration. You know, we have all the energies coming in, we have the shifts and changes in ourselves, we have our emotions coming up and bubbling up, we have experiences and past trauma coming up, whether that's from this life or past lives, and things that we don't understand happening to us. And what I have learned along my journey, and I have chills now as I'm just starting to talk about this, so this is like a verification or emphasis, they want to mention this, is that early on, I was on the runaway train during my partner, who many of you know as Kent, when he was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer. When I look back on those days before my awakening, or I should say at least the dark night of the soul, because I didn't know I was awakening at the time, when that information came through in a text that he had fainted at a restaurant and had, which is why he hadn't contacted me that night, and had 5 MRIs at our large state hospital, and they had found a brain tumor. I will never forget that moment when everything about this glorious new opportunity to meet someone really neat turned into literally the runaway train that I was on. And the thing is, at the time I didn't understand how, and granted this example is a very extreme example, but we go through a lot of these and they can be all degrees. when I jumped on that runaway train, I was actually, the visual now I'm getting that they're showing me, which must be very representative of me, is I was on the caboose holding on to the ladder and flying off the back end, and the train's running away. That's really how I felt. I remember that distinctly. That's a really good visual that they've just given me. And oftentimes we feel that way, one degree or another. We're hanging on back of the caboose for dear life. And that's where I was for probably, well, this is interesting. So I was on the runaway train, but yet I quickly stepped on board and I took a seat. The train was still running away, but yet what I didn't realize at the time is the train had a conductor that really knew what it was doing, even though it was speeding at lightning fast pace. I finally took a seat and realized, okay, I may not know where I'm going, but I'm on this train, and I'm not getting off anytime soon. There are no stops right now. I don't see an end in sight, but I'm on this train. And so I journeyed for 10 months with him through, well, that should actually be a book in itself, that journey of great, amazing fun, which you would never think in that time, and also the most difficult times I've ever had in my life. And if you've ever gone through a serious illness with someone, well, not just serious, life-threatening and then life-taking illness, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't wish that on anyone, but we all have these things that we go through to one degree or another. So my runaway train quickly became a train where I sat down as a passenger and I breathed. And I realized, here I am. And sure, I had a choice, I suppose, but my soul wasn't going to allow that. And I didn't feel I ever had a choice. I knew this was my time to assist someone in the struggle of his life. And so I stayed on my runaway train. And eventually, during that journey, my runaway train turned into the train stop that they're talking about. The time where you're able to get off the train and look at the mountain and the beauty that surrounds you and realize, taking in that fresh air, realizing I was now on this journey of a lifetime. And it wasn't at all what I had expected. That runaway part now had become my own beautiful awakening journey. That was the dark night of the soul part. Now I was in this amazing, now they're showing, okay, so now they're showing me the summit. Like, they're showing me Swiss mountains and all the beauty, if you've ever been to Switzerland, and the beautiful flowers in the springtime and snow-capped mountains, and they're showing me out in that field. And wow, this is kind of emotional. And then I started my journey from there. Now, you know, that's my, and I didn't expect to talk about this, actually. This is just all coming to me now for this video. But we all have our runaway trains at time during the awakening journey. But the thing is, if you can first realize that, whoa, something unusual is happening to me here, and be able to separate yourself out. I mean, you're going to feel that pain first, whatever kind of situation it is. You're going to feel pain, angst, emotion, stress, anxiety, whatever your runaway train is at that point in time. Get on it. Hold on like I did, because this is the awakening. It almost forbids you to not be able to hang on to the train, or your journey's just going to be more difficult. So in my analogy, holding onto the back of the caboose, flying off the back end, was my analogy of freaking out initially. Freaking out initially. That didn't last long, because then I breathed, and then guess what? I became part of the train by getting on board. So to be able to, first of all, realize that, oh my gosh, something's going on here. And sometimes it's in your face. Other times it's more subtle. It might be an emotion you're feeling. But to feel it, to step back, and to disconnect the human self from the, I guess I would say, kind of that outside looking in, be able to say, something's happening here. Kind of, you're going to go through maybe your little freak out, and then you're going to feel that pain, but take that breath. Try to separate yourself, because that's important. Otherwise, you're on that runaway train, and you're just the runaway train, all right? Separating yourself out and being able to look at it from the outside in and say, okay, woohoo, now I'm here. Now I'm going through this. Okay, let's breathe. Let's step back and then get on the train, whatever that means for you. And for me, and I think for many of us, it's acceptance. This is a thing that is happening to me now. This is something I'm going through. I need to accept this and move with it. And then as you do this, what I found in my journey with Kent is and I didn't realize I was doing all these processes at this time, but when I look back, I know clearly that my higher self was leading me here. As I began to accept the journey I was on, even though there was great difficulty in it, it was as though I was traveling at the same pace as the runaway train, because I was on the train, if that makes sense. And that will allow you an easier way to go through the difficult times. Now, I know I keep using this analogy of the train, and hopefully it is one that you can relate to, because at times during these difficult journeys that we're on, we may never see an end in sight, and I honestly didn't. And yet at the same time, I remember very vividly thinking very much in the now moment, because with somebody with a serious illness, a life-threatening illness, that's really all you can do. It's you're in the moment all the time, because there's one emergency or another. And so depending on your circumstance, it's being able to maybe have a breather on occasion and just know that, okay, I'm going to take this time for myself, step back, recollect yourself. And, kind of like, okay, now they're giving me the picture of a train stop. So you get some time to get off the train and stretch your legs. And then guess what? All on board, and you got to get back on and continue that journey. So being able to take that time for yourself, breathing, meditating, exercising, doing something for you, whatever situation you're in, whether it's just you feeling your emotion over something that has happened in the past that you're now clearing, or you are going through something very serious like I did. We all have a moment we can take for ourselves in this, and being able to collect ourselves and really integrate with ourselves after we've observed and said, okay, took my time, let's jump back on. And then there we are, we're reintegrating back into the situation we're in to be able to travel that journey, and to be able to more mindfully go through that journey, to be able to collect ourselves during that journey. And then again, next train stop, step off, take the time for yourself, whether it's a walk or whatever it is, something. And everybody's situations are different. And we continue to go through these. There are lots of runaway trains oftentimes during our awakening journey. So again, knowing how that pattern works, and then being able to continue through your awakening journey, because ultimately at the end of the day, what we are offered after we travel through or travel with that each individual runaway train in our journey is the beauty of coming out of it like I did in my situation, which this sounds odd if you haven't been through this, but Kent's passing, and suddenly my dark night of the soul during all of that, but then my blast open, wide awake, conscious awareness of the awakening, and then moving forward in joy and no longer grief, and now being where I am today. This is how the awakening works. Each step of the way, we continue to build on the past to further awaken us to a greater understanding of who we are and why we're on this journey and why these things are occurring for us, and be able to embrace them and travel with each one of those situations that we have in our journey, to be able to see the beauty of this journey that has never before happened in humankind, and that we are a part of, and that we are getting to journey through. And so we do have choices. Things can still be very difficult, but we have choices and can also participate in a way that makes it easier for us, if that makes sense. Blending in and integrating with the situation that is actually happening, and then standing back and taking that break as you can. Like I said, as simple as taking a walk to breathe, meditation, taking care of yourself as much as you can during these situations, but knowing that this runaway train is still there, but you're on the train and you've taken a seat and now you're participating in it. So I hope I have helped you with what can often be some of the most difficult times in our life journey, in our awakening journey, in the ascension. And that you're able to take some of this and now apply it to your life. And I think the most important thing to do is to be able to not let the runaway train run over you, but instead to integrate what is happening into your conscious awareness, understand the significance of what is occurring, and knowing that you are here participating in an event that is bigger than you, that is bigger than the situation that is happening to you right now, and that is all playing out for your higher good. So with that, I leave you today, hopefully thinking about how you can integrate this channel into your next runaway train, how large or small it is. And I wish you well on your journey. And again, remind you, if you are interested in working with me and would like to understand more about what I do on a daily basis for my business, purplerainhealing.com, check out my website, because I would love to work with you on either of spiritual awakening, mentoring, distance energy healing, or channeled messages, where I help launch you forward in your journey, your life journey, or your awakening journey. So thank you again, all of you, for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.